They're just government bonds. And instead of the government issuing a bond and saying, well, the bond is going to pay 3% or 4% or whatever, these bonds are tied to the rise and fall of inflation. So when inflation goes up, the interest rate on the bond goes up. And when inflation goes down, the interest rate on the bond goes down. And so that's a pretty effective way to deal with inflation, and quite direct. You can actually beat inflation with cash today. Because right now we've got money market funds that are paying rates that will exceed what inflation is today. There are short-term bonds that are paying good rates that exceed inflation rates today. Now, you want to stay in short-term bonds if that's your only objective, is to defeat inflation, because longer-term bonds are more sensitive to interest rates when they rise and fall. And so short-term bonds will keep you in a safe spot. Bonds, by the way, Ralph, are not safe investments. Now, I'm not saying that they're dangerous investments. I'm just saying people think, oh, well, when you get tired of the risk of stocks, you go to bonds because bonds are safe. No, you don't do that, because even though bonds are considered a flight to safety, we had people in the past year walk in our office who in the prior year had lost 25 and 30% holding bonds because they thought they were safe, and they didn't understand why their accounts had gone down. And it's simply because when interest rates rise, bonds go down in value. And what we've been experiencing for the last year is interest rates are rising. So bonds had gone down in value quite severely. My favorite for beating inflation is stocks, Ralph. Stocks can be good as a long-term inflation hedge. Really good, in fact. But they can actually suffer in the shorter term if we have inflation spikes. So stocks aren't a guarantee to beat inflation, but historically over long periods of time, if you lay down the inflation rate and you lay down the performance of stocks beside it, then that's one of the other tools that we use to defeat inflation. And of course, real estate similarly has done that. So those are just some tools that you could use to withstand inflation. And you probably should have some or all of those in your portfolio.